Hello and welcome to the inaugural episode of ASAC Mic Drop, a production of the Association and Society Speakers Community. My name is Aidan Crawford. This is a podcast that is for speakers and planners. For speakers, you're going to learn insights into the business from the pros, and for planners, you are going to get introductions to some great speakers who can really help you out at your next event. Now, let's get started with our very first guest ever, Suhan Beck. Suhan is a dynamic speaker who helps smart leaders evolve into wise leaders, fostering healthier workplace cultures. Through ancient Circassian wisdoms, she empowers emerging leaders and organizations to build environments where honor, humility, and humanity thrive. I'm really excited about today's show. It was really fun talking to Suhan, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So here we go. Suhan, great to have you on today.
Hey, thank you, Aiden.
Now, you're a really, I like to just jump right into things. Now, you're a really interesting speaker. So, from my experience, a lot of speakers, they get up on stage, they have their speech, they customize it for the audience, obviously, but it's grounded in stuff that's happening today and from their experience. You come at it from a different angle. You're talking about ancient wisdoms and how they apply to today. And I think for the meeting planners that are watching this, and the decision makers who are watching this, how does that work? Like if I'm engaging you to bring you in as a speaker, first of all, give me the core of your message, and then
Okay,
let's talk about how you deliver that message, because it's really fascinating.
thank you. Um, Basically, I help emerging leaders evolve from smart leaders. Obviously, if they're in their positions of leadership, they are smart. In today's world, they have to be. But smart leaders does not equate to wise leaders. And
Mhm.
that's where the imbalance is. That's what's missing in modern leadership today. So, where does wisdom come from? It comes from a slower pace of inner reflection and growth and whatnot. And unfortunately, life today does not allow for that slower, kind of more mature wisdom to manifest. So these leaders are suffering because they are stuck in this, excuse the expression, rat race, this continuum that doesn't allow for that true wisdom to blossom through. So I happen to come from a culture that is over 7,000 years old.
Oh,
So it is one of the oldest cultures that has remained homogenous and has retained its culture continuously, even until now, even after we've had multiple wars, multiple genocides, multiple exiles out of our homeland. Even the Circassians that are living in the diaspora all over, from Australia to Europe to the Middle East to New Jersey to California, where I am at, we have maintained a very specific code of conduct, which we call adiga kabza. Basically, it's a code of honor. And that word in of itself is shocking to most audiences, where they're like, huh, I only use that word when I have my kid made honor roll.
the-
Or if, my son is going into the Marines, there they do have a code of honor. So certain sects of the military, yes. But generally speaking, in the public today, especially in the corporate world, especially in organizational, programs, that word doesn't necessarily come into play. So my goal is to make that word honor sexy again in the American vernacular.
so tell me, so honor, that's an interesting concept. So how does honor, the concept of honor, influence uh leaders in general, and how does that apply within the framework of a company? If I'm running a company, how does honor help me run it better? Like,
Okay. Wonderful question. And I so appreciate that, because that really does separate the woo woo from the practical applications that this can help leaders and organizations and associations. Number one, the current regulations, industry standards, compliance, policy procedures, generally across the board, whether it is in manufacturing or service, the real estate industry, which I was in for 15 years, manufacturing, which I was in for 15 years. Now I'm revealing my age, but I drink coconut water. So I was lucky enough to really test out completely different markets from service-based corporate property management, real estate, sales, appraisals, brokerage, so mortgage and banking, all the way into manufacturing here in the United States, FDA labs, FDA, product over the counter medication, which is, my company, Alage. And I also manufactured an electronics product overseas in China. So I really have almost like a 360-degree view of compliance, standards, industry, regulations, and whatever. And I've studied them. This is like my fascination. So when I study them across the the waters, so to speak, the regulations are absurdly higher than what is here in the United States, which is completely like contradictory to what we've grown up thinking, that American products are the best, American made. But that has declined. And I think that is a direct relationship to the decline of that one word, honor. So I'll give you a perfect example, the personal care products industry. And I know that because I've been in it when I manufactured my product, which Alage, we started as a moisturizer and then it ended up as an FDA over-the-counter medication. So it transferred from one to the other. So I know the regulations both on a cosmetics level versus a medical level.
Sure.
So from Europe to the Middle East, even China, and I know a lot of Americans have this, made in China kind of concept. But unless you go to China and you manufacture there and you see the quality of what they're capable of versus what they're exporting to the United States, it's mind blowing. So,
Hmm.
again, from Europe to the Middle East to China to Vietnam, on average, they have banned between 1,600 to 2,600 ingredients they deem as unsafe for their people. Aiden, ask me, Suhan, how many ingredients has the United States banned?
How many?
11. This is a perfect time to curse. So bleep, 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 bleep. Right?
So,
So,
so I'm curious. So, how does the idea of honor,
haha.
um, is it if you fully explore the concept of honor, and I know in America, there's a lot of talk about back onshoring. Would honor be something that could help that process of bringing things back to America?
Put my seatbelt on, put my helmet on, I'm ready to go. Okay, so the thing is that we have become complacent because we trust, as Americans, we are a trusting society in that we think that the regulators, the compliance, inspectors, and there aren't any. So the compliance and regulations in the United States has faltered and become so low in order to protect certain chemical industries that want to push their product that they have forbidden the legislators or compliance or the Federal Drug Administration to upgrade their knowledge since 1939.
Hmm.
So they are still maintaining this playbook of industry regulations with information that is outdated, not really humane, not really honorable, not really conducive to protecting our population here in the United States and abroad if we want to export. Now, the thing is that around the world, they've clued in and tuned in to understanding that we are still using the food dyes and the chemical products in the processing that no longer is acceptable by foreign countries, companies, and whatnot. So when I go into these sessions to speak about this, people are shocked that, wait a minute. So if I'm in compliance, I am at this bare minimum, this legal that isn't humane, that isn't honorable. So that's where I come in and I shock value them. And I say, look, this is where it's at here in the United States. This is where the rest of the world is. Where are you going to be? Activate your code of honor. And then I bring in all the stories of our Circassian code of honor and how It was exactly our code of honor that helped us survive 7,000 years despite invasions from the Greek Spartans. The Mongols could not penetrate through our region of the Caucasus Mountains. The Ottomans could not go further. The Russian Empire, it took a 101-year brutal war for the Russian Empire to defeat us. We are a small indigenous tribes. How did the Russian Empire take 101 years to defeat us? There you go. So we are long term strategists. And what I'm afraid of is American companies and corporations, the leadership is short sighted because America is a young, immature country. They have not been seasoned into knowing the enemy. And I have identified the enemy as being CYA. Now,
Ah,
ladies and gentlemen, who is CYA? Who is this mysterious enemy? It's the psyche. It's the psychology that has penetrated and infiltrated into corporate America with, don't worry, as long as you're in compliance, check the boxes, do a documentation trail. We've got the best PR team. Hey, this is what insurance is for. Don't worry, we don't have to recall the product off the shelves. We could just settle a few lawsuits. It's not going to become a class action lawsuit. What the? This is our leadership? Okay, I get it. The lobbyists and the legislators and the regulators, they are going to stick to that bottom line bare minimum. But you, as leaders, you were not called to do the minimum. You were called to elevate. I, Suhan Beck, am coming to these conferences to help wake up these leaders to say, no, I, as a leader, am going to elevate my code of honor. And that team that wants to support me as a leader, we are going to elevate our own standards and regulations.
so it sounds counterintuitive because everybody's like the less rules and regulations, the better. But in order for American companies to compete globally, they need to match. I can say this
Or surpass.
or surpass. I'm in Canada, and one of the examples that has been brought up recently is Canadians do not let a lot of dairy products from the US into our market. And it's all because of the additives. And because they're all
Europe and Japan doesn't let our meat go in there.
because the additives and the hormones that it's all banned in all these countries. So the whole idea of honor isn't just an internal feeling. It's if you want to succeed internationally and globally, you don't do the bare minimum in America. You need to be kind of a global leader on best practices.
Rewind a little bit. Before we can even go global, what about that leader that needs to inspire a sincere team behind them? So
Yeah.
even if we're not exporting, what if we just need people to work with us that feel comfortable with purpose, with, integrity? This new generation, oh, they want integrity. They want purpose. So they're not going to buy in to the sleaze bag leaders anymore that are just CYAing their way through.
Yeah. So now I want to get I want to transition this discussion to for decision makers that would be interested in bringing you in because I'm very curious. So your presentation is unique in so much as you don't just get up there and tell your signature story. Tell us a bit about the visual and the interactivity of how you actually go up there and do your thing.
Okay.
Really is
So,
fascinating.
so there's a lot of sizzle in
Yeah,
this. Okay. And that is I show up in full Amazonian garb because I am actually 100% descendant of the Amazons of the Circassian tribes in the Caucasus.
you're a real
So
Wonder Woman.
I technically that's Hollywood's fantasy. I'm too humble to, claim that, but I do have a golden belt, and that golden belt is indicative of our identity. And so when the Greek Spartans were trying to steal that golden belt from the Amazons, that was symbolic of them stealing her identity, which was her superpower. So yes, I belong to that indigenous tribe of those mythology and the Hollywood's fantasy, but we're fighting that. We don't want you to believe that. We want you to believe that our superpower was in our identity of who we are, our branding, because we know who we are. We are self-respecting and dignified. And that's what Circassians are known for. We don't sell out. In Jordan, the Hashemite kingdom, they only have Circassian guards because they know they're not bribable. They're not someone that you can, sell off. We have always been known for our code of honor. And this has been a threat, whether it was to Russia or to anyone else. We had equity in our society. We were democratic long before Greece was democratic. So we, as women warriors, fought next to our men and would do war councils in a circle, which was the original round table of the King Arthurian legends. And so now it's been proven that the European code of honor of the Camelot and, that was taken from our Nart sagas of the Circassians. So
Wow.
so right now I'm working with a bunch of academic scholars that have proven archaeologically, linguistically, art anthropologically that we existed, and European culture has taken a lot of that from us, originally from the original Bronze Age, Iron Age, because we had the minerals and the weapons. That's why we were able to sustain ourselves for 101 years without any help from the outside world against the Russian Empire. Like, does
So,
that give you an indication?
but I want to take it back because you didn't go into the what I find the most fascinating that really makes you unique as far as a speaker would go. If I was bringing in a speaker, and this is specifically for all our viewers that would be in the decision-making world for hiring speakers. If I hire you as a speaker and I say, "Hey, Suhan, come on in. I want you to speak." Who walks onto my stage?
An Amazon.
An Amazon in
in
the
full
full
in
gear.
full warrior princess mode. So I speak to the audience as if I am a ghost from an ancient civilization they've never heard of. My ancestors have sent me here to you with an urgent message to save humanity. The way for you to save is to elevate and activate your code of honor so that you are not just in compliance with these absurdly low regulations. And I give them the reasons, and I give them how this code of honor is the salvation of cultures and management and leadership
And if
through a leader's code of honor.
and if we were talking about,
Short of bringing my horse.
well, somebody might want to spring for the horse, but I'd be thinking if I was so I'm a planner and I'm bringing you in, you're delivering your talk. What is there a specific industry? Now you already mentioned like you've done some stuff in FDA approval, so I imagine you could speak to pharmaceutical, you could speak to uh, uh,
Real estate,
real
management,
estate.
business, corporate, any manufacturing industry.
So anybody who's
Not
looking for a really interesting take
on
and
on code of ethics to the 10th degree. So it's basically the code of ethics is here. That's your bare minimum. But I'm taking it to a higher level to upgrade our collective standards of production in the United States.
excellent. All right.
So, like at the end of my programs, I actually bring costumes hanging up so that the audience can try on a warrior outfit and take pictures with those costumes. So the men have the Nart, costumes with the daggers. I mean, they're safe. Don't worry, meeting planners. Don't worry. Um, and then the women, they're able to either, wear the Amazon princess costume, or also the female version of the Amazon warrior costume. So these costumes are also part of my whole thing because I want the audience to walk away taller. And you cannot wear these costumes unless you are significantly postured and your etiquette is proper. So that's part of the whole concept. It's a management makeover. So I want them to taste what it feels like to be a true warrior from an ancient legend mythology that scared the Greeks, that, made it in Hollywood. And yet they don't really know what it is. Now they get to touch it. Now they get to feel it. Now they get to put it on and live up to that legend. And once they do that, they will always remember that sense of posture, presence, that I am the essence of my organization. And if my code of honor is higher, then that circle, that circumference will ripple effect outwards.
That's brilliant. Now, what is your give me your website. What is your website before because we're gonna
Suhan.com. It's
Suhan.com. Do you want to spell that for us so everybody's the link is in the description.
Suhein.com. We didn't know the rule I before you except after C when we got off the boat.
Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to actually throw to your showcase video. So anybody that wants to go directly to Suhan's page on the ASSC website, the speakercommunity.org, there's a direct link that you can work with Suhan. You can click on that link. You'll be able to email or give her a phone call. It's all there. All her information is there. Watch the showcase. It's really, really interesting. And it's really unique. If you're looking for something super unique for your next event, something that's going to inspire people and educate them, then I really do think Suhan might be a really good speaker to consider. Thanks again, Suhan.
Thank you, Aiden. I
All right,
really
guys.
appreciate all your work.
We're going to throw to it now. All right, enjoy.
Thank you.
Suhan Beck is a dynamic speaker who helps smart leaders evolve into wise leaders, fostering healthier workplace cultures. Through ancient Circassian wisdoms, she empowers emerging leaders and organizations to build environments where honor, humility, and humanity thrive. Here she is, Suhan Beck.
What's missing in today's leadership? Why are work cultures still plagued by burnout, high turnover, and employees checked out? The truth is, today's leaders are undeniably smart, but not wise. What if I told you that the real solution to toxic work cultures isn't in new age trends, but rather found in ancient wisdoms? My name is Suhan Beck, and I help leaders cultivate healthier cultures. I don't even mind if you call me the ancient culture cultivator. In fact, I'm proud of being a Circassian with a cultural lineage that goes back 7,000 years to the Caucasus Mountains. Deeply rooted in this heritage is a time-tested code of leadership, survival, and honor. We survived the impossible. We fought a 101-year war with the Russian Empire without any help from the outside. Think about that. We endured multiple genocides and ultimately an exile. The secret to our resilience and overcoming all odds is found in an ancient framework called Adiga Khabsa. In my keynote speeches, I introduce 12 principles from the Adiga Khabsa that can be instilled into modern leadership. These 12 principles take a leader down a path of deep reflection to reconsider their leadership style, making subtle adjustments that make profound changes that ultimately affect their cultures. In my breakout sessions, we roll up our sleeves and dive into a leadership makeover style journey. They receive a journal that they can work on for 12 months, perfecting one principle per month. My presentations are layered with rich audio-visual media. The audience is mesmerized by the costumes and the martial arts dances and the acrobatics on horses and the Amazons and the warriors. While they're being entertained, I study the audience. You can see it for yourself. Within about 15 seconds of them watching this very distinctive and calculated movements of the dances, the audience members start straightening up their posture, one by one. They begin to mirror what they see on screen as the body language of true warriors and leaders. Something even deeper happens in those dances. The most subtle communications occur in spontaneous ways when each dancer gives off subtle indicators but hides their emotions to test the other dancer's intellect and prowess to see if they can read their micro expressions. It's like playing chess and poker at the same time. Now, that ancient practice has just been discovered recently by anthropologists as a powerful science in psychology in reading human micro expressions. Our survival depended on this playful and intuitive skill. This is a superpower skill for leaders, wise leaders, to pick up on social cues that others miss on their radars. All of this happens even before I go into the first few principles of Adiga Khabsa. self-control, self-awareness, and reading, engaging others. What is their commitment? What are their loyalties? You breathe loyalty. So by the time I get to each principle, the audience has already subconsciously bought into these concepts that leaders must carry themselves with a higher distinctive level of dignity to earn respect. On the surface, it may look like a history lesson, but this is a one-of-a-kind masterclass in leadership and cultivating a healthier and loyal culture. Long before I step on the stage, I study your organization's culture and how these 12 principles can be applied to that specific industry. I've spent 15 years in corporate executive level of property management and 15 years as an entrepreneur with manufacturing and wholesale and retail. I've lived the American entrepreneurial dream, launching a product from zero, mass retail, from sea to shining sea. I've experienced working in extreme toxic work cultures and cleaning them up. But I also know what it's like to launch a brand from nothing to something. Another principle of Etika Krebsa is extreme hospitality, to the point where if our arch enemy shows up at our door, the whole family, the entire tribe, are required to genuinely and generously welcome that guest. So when I speak to the hotel and travel industries, introducing that concept of extreme hospitality into their customer service, they wake up to the reality that their first customer that sets foot into their business is actually their employees. Perspective shift, goal. You, the leader, the manager? No, you are the host. And you must treat your employees as guests, not as indentured servants or prisoners of war. They come with skills and expertise and potential, while you, the host, are required to provide the most gracious experience in your culture. They then role model that onto the customers naturally. There's an ancient proverb for leaders. Take care of your village, your tribe will protect you. It's unfortunate that we are surrounded by some of the most technically savvy leaders, but so many of them fall into that CYA trap. Cover your assets. If you think about it, why? Isn't it a liability? Don't worry. We've got the best lawyers. We've got the best PR firm. That's what insurance is for. Or maybe we can all shift ourselves to shame and phase that CYA out of our American vernacular by replacing it with COH, Code of Honor. Even after all these years, I still have that fighting spirit of an Amazon warrior. I hereby declare war against that morally offensive concept of CYA. So to my last dying breath, I will be sharing the Code of Honor. Now the only difference is I've exchanged my Circassian dagger for a microphone. Again, my name is Suhan Beck, and if this aligns with you, I would be honored to work with you to slice and dice CYA out and cultivate Code of Honor into your organization. Tawalapsa.